So the IGETC, or the intersegmental general education pattern, is the GE that is accepted for the University of California system. So we are going to go over those requirements this week. So let me show you how to find it on the Transfer Center website, and there is a link on this page that you can also access it. But if you go to the transfer process and to general education, right here is the UC/CSU IGETC GE pattern. So the IGETC is accepted by the CSU, and it's also accepted by a lot of out-of-state as well as California independent campuses. There is also an IGETC for STEM, which is for the biology associate's degree for transfer only. So this IGETC for STEM does not guarantee that it is accepted by the UC. So you should continue to follow the regular GE pattern unless you've checked in with the campus or with me and the Transfer Center. So let's go ahead and look at the IGETC. It's very similar to the CSU general education sheet. There's not a whole lot of difference besides a little bit of language in the coursework. So remember that every course that transfers to a UC is numbered 1 to 47. So you will not see courses that are above that number on the IGETC. So we start off with Area 1, which is English Composition, and a student needs to take English 1A or ESL 10. They need a critical thinking, which is counted as their second semester of English. So these three classes, Communications 9, English 5, and Philosophy 5, all have a certain amount of writing that is part of the class. And so the UC has deemed these courses as an English composition class, even though 2 of them are not under the discipline of English. Area 1C is oral communication, and so this is how the sheet can be used for a CSU. This would be required if you are using the IGETC to go to a CSU, and you would need to take Communications 1. The comms class is not required for the UCs, just the CSU, so you would want to make sure that you get that completed. This would be for a student who's like applying to UC Davis and Sac State. Then they just follow one pattern and they're good to go. Math is Area 2. So again, math is determined by your major. You'll see like Math 58 is not on here because it's not a transferable UC class. Area 3 is the arts and the humanities. And just like the CSU sheet, you need 1 arts class, 1 humanities class, and the 3rd class would come from either section. You'll notice here that with the languages, they all start at level 2, not level 1. So what happens a lot of times is a student would take, let's say, ASL 1 and their first semester, and then 3 semesters down the line, they decide, well, I'm going to actually follow IGETC, and now they're short a humanities because that ASL 1 does count in the humanities section of the CSU. And I'll show you why that's the case in just a little bit. Area 4 is your social and behavioral sciences. Same rule, you need 3 courses from at least 2 disciplines. So again, you can take 2 history classes, but then you need to take something else, okay? And again, the plus numbers do not mean child development plus anything after that. It means that there is some sort of limitation. So just like I just talked about in the other video, child development 10 is a limitation with Psych 4, and only 1 of those classes would count. Area 5 is your sciences. Same rule here. You need 1 physical science and 1 biological science, and 1 of those must have a lab. Here is the reason why there's the languages start at level 2 in the humanities section, is that for the UCs, you need to have a foreign language to complete IGETC. And so the level 1s are listed in this section here, okay? Students who completed 2 years of high school coursework in 1 language other than English can meet the requirement that way. And the 2 years, if you did, your two years of Spanish in middle school and then you did level 2 in high school, that works. As long as you get to level 2, it's fine. It didn't have to be in the high school. You could have even possibly skipped it. The final grade has to be a C- or better. So I just worked with a student who she had like B, B, C, D. And so her foreign language in high school doesn't work. Had it been B, B, D, C, she would have been fine. But because the D was in the last semester, we can't count it. And there are some other ways to meet this requirement. You can have a score of 3 or higher on AP. You can have an IB score. You can do an achievement test in the transfer center, or we can help you. You don't do it in the transfer center, but we'll help facilitate that for you. So if you go under the tab of resources, you can go to the LOTE, and there's a form that you can fill out. And on that form, you can see the different languages that we have faculty members who have offered to give an assessment in. If it's something not on this list, tell us, and I will send a message out to faculty to see if I can find somebody who can give that test. However, if you took coursework at a school where you were at least at the 6th grade level or higher, and the language of instruction was not English, then that can count as well. And I would just need an unofficial transcript. It does not need to be an official transcript. And then this is that CSU graduation requirement of a U.S. history and government. Again, it's just on here as kind of a note for you that those could double count if you want it to. It's not part of the general education pattern. And then on the second sheet of the IGETC are some notes that you could pay attention to. For example, for UC Berkeley, the College of Letters and Sciences requires that students have IGETC completed. So that's an important thing to be aware of. All right, so that finishes the IGETC. If you have any questions about it, let me know.